Hello everybody, my name is Bee and welcome to the
Unboxing of the week.
That really hurt. Every Tuesday we unbox a different thing here on the Tech channel, and today we're going to be unboxing the iPhone 7. So let's get right into this unboxing and find out exactly what the iPhone 7 has to offer. We got some green plastic bags. Those are essential to keeping your iPhone absolutely waterproof. No, I'm just kidding. This is the iPhone 7. So right off the bat, we're greeted with a 5.5-inch display on the Plus model. Now this has a 1920 by 1080p resolution at 401 ppi. Now that's compared to the 326 ppi 1334 by 750p 4.7-inch display of the normal model, not the Plus model. At the top of the phone here, we're greeted with a 7-megapixel 1080p face cam, as well as the light sensor and an improved earpiece speaker. Now this not only sounds better, but it actually acts as a projection speaker. This is your left hand speaker. This actually has stereo speaker mode. So when you're watching a video, sound will come out of the bottom as typical, but there's no grill on the left side. The actual grill is improved with this front-facing speaker. So essentially, this acts as a front-facing speaker, which is really awesome. So not only do you get stereo sound, one of them is actually facing you. This has been implemented on several different kinds of phones, and it is actually a really welcome feature. I'm really happy that they added it there and not on the side. Now I just wish that all the speakers would be front-facing. On the left side of the phone here, we still have the volume up and down buttons and the silent switch, which I really love that they have that. I hope they never get rid of that. On the right side of the phone, we get your lock button, which is just adjacent to the middle of your volume buttons there, so hopefully you won't be able to press those, but they do have software implementation that makes you not necessarily have to press that button. And then just below that, you get your SIM card tray. And on the back of the phone, the Plus model has a dual lens system. So one of these acts as a typical normal camera, and the other one helps you zoom in better. These act as one camera. You can't take two different pictures at once. That's not what it's doing. What it's doing is essentially allowing you to take photos at a longer distance with better resolution, better color, a little bit more accurate, you know? It's also got some optical image stabilization, so it's going to be really good for walking around and taking pictures and videos that will look a lot better in the long run. You also got your microphone and a dual flash system as typical. Just below that, you got your Apple logo. Forgot to mention, this is the silver color, but you also have rose gold, gold, matte black, and jet black. Now, I highly do not recommend the jet black color. Trust me, you do not want the jet black. It will get fingerprints and scratches all over it the second day you have it, and it will look terrible. I highly recommend the matte black though. It's gonna look really good. These also come in 32, 128, and 256 gigabyte versions. The jet black is exclusive in 128 and 256. There's no 32 gig model of that. And the home button actually isn't a button. It is actually part of the glass. Now it's slightly indented. It still has the silver ring around there, but it's not a button. It's actually measuring force, just like the force touch on your display, where you can push harder and a different function will happen. Same with your home button. It can still read your fingerprint, but instead it gives you a small vibration that tells you when you're actually pressing the button. It's really interesting. And now we move to the most controversial thing about this phone. That's right. There's no headphone jack. Instead, you just have a couple grills here as well as your lightning port. Now, all headphones now have to be used with the lightning port. Speaking of which, let's move to the accessories. Now, in the accessories box, we get your typical 5-volt 1-amp charger here, and we get your Apple EarPods. Now, what's interesting about these, there's no real sound difference or any difference from the other EarPods as before, but they now terminate in a lightning port instead of the headphone jack as normal. You do still have your volume control and everything, but this essentially means that all of the audio processing is going to be moved to the headphones instead of inside the phone, therefore conserving space and improving battery life because you can fit a bigger battery inside of your phone, as well as additional sensors that they've improved in there. Now, if you're disappointed because you have some freaking awesome headphones that don't terminate in a lightning port, guess what? They actually include a lightning to headphone jack adapter in the box. Now that is really convenient. I know it kind of sucks that you don't have the actual headphone jack on your phone. I know that's going to be a big letdown to a lot of people, but at least you have the option to use the adapter. Now if you only use one set of headphones, like I bet the majority of people do, you can simply leave this plugged into your headphones, and it's really light and very small, so you should be able to plug it in and just have a good time. But I suspect the omission of the headphone jack is going to be the biggest non-seller to a lot of you guys. It's going to be the biggest letdown. That's going to cause the most people not to want to buy this iPhone. That's why I'm suspecting a lot of people not to be buying the iPhone 7. As well as that, you do have your typical lightning cable. Nothing new about that guy. That's all for the accessories, but you do get a couple Apple stickers too. Now let's turn her on for the first time and try out that home button. The home button is very interesting. The tactile feedback gives you the illusion that there's a click there. That is actually really interesting. I do like that. Now in the newest MacBooks, they've implemented a similar feature where it uses force feedback instead of an actual click. And I gotta say, even if you click and hold, it feels like you're pushing a button. It feels like you're kind of pushing the entire screen down, because that's just sort of the implementation the vibration gives you. That is really interesting. No. Don't. Thank you. Other than that, specs are fairly similar to the 6S before, though it is IP67 rated, which means it's completely dustproof and waterproof up to a few meters for up to 30 minutes. So it's water resistant, not waterproof. Waterproof means that you can have it in any depth of water and absolutely nothing will happen to it no matter how long you have it in there. Now when it's water resistant, that means that it can hold out water, but only under a certain amount of pressure and a certain amount of time. Now they're usually pretty conservative with their IP ratings, so this means that if you do drop your phone in a pool, it's very likely to survive, just like the 6X. The 6S was technically water resistant, but they never actually got an official rating, but I've seen plenty of people stick it in boiling pots of water and in the freezer in a bowl of water and letting it freeze for days and days, and trust me, it's pretty water resistant, and if this is actually rated, that means it's going to be a lot better. So I would consider this pretty great. Just don't go swimming with it. It's also got the Apple A10 64-bit architecture chip that has a lot to be reckoned with. This actually has 2 powerful cores and 2 more low power cores. So if you're running an application super simple like Facebook or Twitter, you're not going to necessarily need the powerhouse of cores. You're going to be able to use those low power cores and save some battery life. The camera on the back is actually a 12 megapixel wide angle camera, which means that it can capture a little bit more with distorting the image just very slightly, but giving you a lot better field of view, so you can capture a lot more people in a picture. Got optical zoom up to 2 times and digital zoom up to 10 times on the Plus model. That's only 5 digital zoom on the regular model, but that extra camera adds a lot. They still have the sapphire crystal lens over the cover here. Camera can record 4K video at 30 FPS, 1080p at 30 or 60, 720 at 30 FPS, and slow-mo support at 1080p for 120 FPS and 720p at 240 FPS. So you're going to be able to get some really nice slow motion capture with this camera, especially with the optical image stabilization. This does have Apple Pay built in. And the iPhone 7's battery can last up to 2 hours longer than the 6S. And that's just 1 hour on the Plus model. And that does take a nano SIM. And it runs out of the box with the latest iOS 10. Every week, you guys send me questions to answer, and I'm here to answer them. So hit me up on Twitter at itsbeeeyeee. You can also leave a comment in the comments below and ask me anything. This week's question comes from Robert, and he asks, what is your computer's name? My computer's name is the Maw. It's named after the last level of Halo 1 because it's my favorite level where you're driving with a warthog and you're, just absolutely just having the most fun that you can in Halo 1. I loved that level. And the Maw means into the belly of the beast, which is kind of what you're doing. You're driving through the belly of the giant ship that's blowing up. And I don't know, that it's just a cool word, and I really like cool words and really cool names for things. So I thought it would be pretty appropriate to put my favorite game and, you know, just kind of mesh it all together. The model actually started off with a pretty lowly build. You can actually find the parts list in the description, and I basically made it so that it was the ultimate upgradable computer. As time went on, you could upgrade individual parts. I just made it so that you'd only have to upgrade, you know, a few parts, just the minimum number of parts. You know, like RAM, I got a CPU that was really cheap, and then I upgraded to a 4790K. I got the G3258, which was the Pentium Anniversary Edition, dual core processor, and stock cooler. Eventually I upgraded to the 4790K, and then a liquid cooler and 16 gigs of RAM instead of my 8. And then I got a SSD, and you know, it just slowly upgraded the whole thing, and now it turned into this beautiful machine. And guys, if you want to see the whole showcase of that video, you guys can find that in the description as well as the parts list for this computer. I actually got another showcase video coming up for the build log computer I've been making. I've just been super busy, and I've been trying to edit it all, so it's gonna take a little bit, but it'll be out pretty soon. But if you guys have any other questions to ask me, go ahead and leave them in the comments, tweet them to me on Twitter, make sure you follow me, turn on your notifications. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked the video, leave a thumbs up as well if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. And as time went on, you could ask any questions. Wait, what?